So near the end of my stay at Studio 6 in, I would say, mid-November, I believe, I had experienced, with those 2 days over at Austin Suites and Hotel that I paid for while still paying for that one, they had started to follow me or make me aware that they were following me. When I went to go to this Austin Suites and Hotel, it wasn't my first choice. It was like a last resort. I didn't really know anything about the hotel and didn't really have a bad stay there except for this nonsense. But we tried different hotels, the taxi guy and I kept feeling like this woo 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 thing. I even went to Best Buy to get the hard drive that I'm actually using right now to store my videos on. And at Best Buy, they made me think, oh, the woman in line, maybe when she turns her purse, a big purse, maybe it has one of these devices in it. Because when she turned, it looked like it was angling towards me. And then I felt the woo 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 thing. They're very good at doing that. They're very good at making you think. They're very good at making you paranoid and making you think other people are in on it that really aren't in on it. And they also throw the other people that are in it under the bus, especially the ones that you know are in on it. So I started to feel a bit more paranoid. And then that's about the time that I encountered what I call the sketchy Caravan of Doom. Because one day when I was walking away from Studio 6, I just walked from St. John's on IH-35 to 51st and 183 around the area where my old neighborhood was, and to 51st Street in Manor. I kind of walked between there. I kept seeing the same cars pass me back and forth. I think there were two. There's one car with a black woman in it. I think most of them had one person in it, maybe two, and then another one where I think another black girl was driving it. I don't think I ever saw them again, but I'm not sure. There was another car that I think I did see again on another event, and it was a white girl, I think in a white boxy car, with hair kind of like mine, a little bit lighter, and a ponytail, so long enough for a ponytail at least. And she had a calf tattoo, I think on the side, or on the back of her calf or on the side of her calf. I think on her left leg, but I'm not sure. Maybe her right leg. I'm not sure. But I kept thinking that there was a sketchy Caravan of Doom because they would maybe think these cars were going back and forth. And on one particular day they were, and I'm not sure if it was related to them or not. But I did find it odd that at least halfway through my walk, I started noticing the same drivers and cars. There's I think there was a black girl. I think the white girl was in on it, on that one. Maybe not, but I did see her on 2 different occasions, I'm pretty sure. And then there's a truck with a Hispanic dude in it, and then there might have been more. But I kept seeing this roughly 4 cars. That's around I think it's around the same time I also noticed a type of window tint that seemed to make people, when they passed by, it seemed to make their heads disappear. I don't know if that's normal or not, but they made me think it was related to them. But I thought that was very, very weird. I didn't know if it was the projections, if it was a special tint that does it naturally because of the reflection. I don't know. But that was one thing I noticed around that time, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And it made me think that there was some special tint, or the tint, I don't know, worked well with the projections. I have no idea. But I've been encountering that. Around the same time at the Studio 6, there was this very friendly guy that moved, that stayed there for 3 or 4 days. Very friendly guy, very easy to talk to, very approachable. I saw him on cigarette breaks in the balcony. He had been harassed one night because he had bought 1 or 2 packs of cigarettes for 1 or 2 guys that were friends with Jason, and one of them, which I had seen later at Isaac's after I got out of jail, coincidentally, possibly, but probably not. And they had been harassing him that night, or banging on his door really loudly, to the point where I yelled at them, he's not there, because I thought he wasn't at home. I was like, go the fuck away, rude motherfuckers. And I mean, banging loud, like they wanted to break the door down or something, or they were coming to collect on some debt owed. He told me he was just ignoring it and staying in his bed. He didn't feel like answering the door. Maybe he was afraid. I can't remember. He just kind of blew it off when I asked him about it a day or 2 later. And then I think he checked out. Then when the stuff escalated again, I went on one of my walks. And this is around the time also that the harassment was this pretty loud, and I thought that it was loud enough for other people to hear, but I don't know if it was voice to skull and only I heard it, or if it was actually being played out of cars driving by. I heard, we want your money or we want you dead, over and over and over again, the same sound clip. I heard that at Tom's too, when I stayed at Tom's briefly, when he had his neighbor rescue me from Studio 6 for a couple nights. I had told one or two cops that maybe that was an extortion attempt, because I did have a large balance in my bank account from the equity of my house that had sold. I think they were just pretending. I'm sure they were. But they acted like they were after my money. That made me nervous. So obviously, but the whole thing made me nervous because it's like, who experiences this ever? Like, I never even heard of gang stalking until this shit happened, and I looked it up, and apparently it's a thing, but it also is an imagined thing as well. So one day I decided to go to this Travis County Detective Unit that's at Techno Ridge and 183. I just decided to go spur of the moment. There's a detective there, I think Detective Wright, but I could have that name wrong. And he's a British black guy. And I don't know how good his detective skills are or with suspects or cases, but he handled, he filled in for a detective on a case and taking some information down for me on a broken protective order where I was the victim. And he is the best victim handling officer I have ever dealt with out of both units. Not that I haven't encountered other respectful officers, but I bitch about them a lot, and I wanted to point that out. I think he should be training other people in respect, because he's like one of the nicest, most respectful officers there. Even when he couldn't help me, he was still very nice about it. I don't think I presented very well to him, because a lot of times when you call 911 or they respond with these people, or you're trying to talk to your dad, or you're trying to leave a message for an officer, or you're trying to explain what you're going through, they hit you like right here, and they hit you here too. And your voice kind of comes up, and you sound kind of panicked a little bit. They can do that. They can mimic the appearance, and to a large degree, almost exactly sometimes, the sensations that you would feel if you felt that way. And that can lead you, obviously, to appear that way to other people, but it can also lead you to feel that way in a sort of backwards sense. So I probably appeared a little bit rushed or panicked. I wasn't the best prepared. He didn't have an SD card reader, but he did call me, I think, the APD crisis team. And this Asian cowboy came down, and I agreed to go to a mental health place at River Street and Rainy Street if they agreed to take my case seriously, which they didn't. And when I got there and I walked in, lo and behold, the guy next door to me, that very friendly guy, was sitting in that very crowded clinic, looking scared as a motherfucker and perturbed as a motherfucker. And I sat down and I was like, are they fucking with you too? And he wouldn't talk to me. This very approachable guy would not talk to me. And I just seen him like a couple of days prior. And I told that to the Asian cowboy, and he said he would make a note of it in the thing. I have no idea if he did or not. And then he left, and I was like, fuck this shit. And I walked right back out. And then that's when, like, they followed me. I was just walking, and then I called a lift. That would often happen where I would like just walk, and I should have just called a lift immediately. But they get you angry, and they get you walking, maybe recording stuff, or maybe just like just pissed off and trying to get away from them, and you can't. And so yeah, and so I went back to the Studio 6, and then I packed up and I went to the Candlewood down south.